Apple is working on their ultimate massive screen iPad or MacBook or both. We just got new information about this, so we're gonna talk about what it's gonna be like, when it's gonna come out, and possibly price points for it. And I think this is gonna be a sick machine. Now, I also have this laptop right here that most of you guys probably didn't see, and it shows the vision of what Apple is trying to do. And before I get into the new info, I wanna say that we did talk about this previously on the channel when they started to work on this machine. I even made a cardboard version just to make it easier to visualize. And based on the information that we got, the form factor is incredible. It's basically the size of a MacBook Air with similar thickness, but then when you open that sucker up, you get a massive display, and it's also incredibly flexible. Now, we have some changes with the new information, but that is basically a hybrid of a MacBook and an iPad, kind of what we have wanted. And the display came in at 20.25 inches. Imagine that size compared to a 16-inch MacBook Pro. We've never had a MacBook screen this size. And then when folded down, it's at 15.3 inches, so still quite large. Now, the reports are that this is going to be a MacBook, and of course, this thing would not have a built-in keyboard, and the typing experience on a display, well, it's just not the best. Of course, we have the iPad that has a keyboard that can attach to it, but Apple is still not giving us any sort of desktop OS, let alone Mac OS. And so that puts a limitation on it, but to me, it looks a lot more like an iPad if it's all screen, basically a giant slate. Now, since we first talked about that concept and what Apple was working on, we have had this machine come out. This is basically the same thing, except instead of having a foldable display, it has a hinge here where the speakers are kept. And I love this thing. The only downside is, one, you have a physical split, that's not bad, but two, it does not run Mac OS, and I love Mac OS. And this uses an OLED screen, just like what Apple is working on, but it is incredible, not only because it folds down thinner than a MacBook Pro, it folds all the way back, but you also have a keyboard which can magnetically attach to the screen, and then your screen adjusts, so you can either have it be at the bottom with information at the top, some emails open, or you can go ahead and attach it at the top, and then you have a trackpad that's virtual, or you can remove this, use it wirelessly, and use both displays. You can set it up sideways, then you have a massive display, but it does have that seam in the middle. And then it also comes with this little protective case where it will actually hold your keyboard in there. It connects with this, keeps it all together, so it's extremely flexible. And this thing is not that expensive while being super well built, having really nice ports, and the OLED screens in this machine are top notch. Better than pretty much everything other than the new M4 iPad Pros with the tandem screens. So this is pretty much what Apple is working on. Now, Asus has actually made something like this where they're using a foldable display. You have a keyboard that you can detach. And the reason I love this concept is you have a tablet, you have a massive screen, it takes up not a lot of room, and if you're working on the go, that screen is awesome. We've showed off multiple external displays that can fold in with your MacBook. It's awesome on the go, but this is all built in one. But unlike some of these other companies, Apple wants to make sure that it will be really good when it actually comes out. So we have some new information that just dropped on this. And the first thing is that Ross Young has said that the foldable MacBook will have a display of 18.8 inches. And now this is not only him releasing the info, he knows a ton about production of displays. Ming-Chi Kuo has also suggested that they're working at around 19 inches, so a little bit smaller than the original 20.5. That could make it practically the same size as a 13-inch MacBook Pro when it's all folded down. Also ultra thin, just like the new iPads. Imagine that thickness coming together, still super thin, nice and lightweight, but having that capability to have that massive screen or dual screens, however you want to work it. Now, Apple has been working with LG Display for this foldable OLED screen. They've been working with them for a few years now, and the main thing that Apple wants to make sure that they get right is that that crease there is going to be practically invisible when you have it all the way opened up. Of course, we've had foldable phones for a while. Samsung is the main leader in that category, and even though the crease has gotten better, you still do notice it and see it. And another thing that they really care about is the durability, because if you're going to be folding it and unfolding it, you don't want it to break on you early or have to worry about that. And because of this, the iPhone Fold has actually been pushed back because they couldn't get the durability to be good enough, and that was here really recently. But for this product, which they're calling the foldable MacBook, the dates have not shifted. We are looking at late 2025 or possibly early 2026 for the release. And so that is not here super close, but it's also not as far as the iPhone. I think with this kind of device, you're not using it as often as your iPhone, where you're constantly pulling it out and people check on it hundreds of times a day. It's also going in your pocket. It can fall out easier. So that durability has to be top notch. Kuo also said that the sales of this should exceed 1 million devices in 2026. So it can't come out too late. And also that it's gonna be using the M5 chip, which I have no doubts. M4 is already here. It's gonna hit the MacBook soon. Apple's on a quick timeline now because there's a lot of competition coming out. Intel's just stepped it up. Qualcomm has their new chips hitting the market soon. So they're kicking that up, and that's gonna be in that machine. It's also gonna mean it's gonna use less power, so it's gonna be more efficient. And also, if you look at the iPad, which is super thin and small, and you look at the size of this upcoming product, they could put a much bigger battery inside of there. So that right there is gonna be cool. And now what about the price point? Well, it's gonna be very expensive. I thought that these iPads were very expensive and that Apple would for sure give us a desktop OS because you're paying more than a MacBook, but maybe they wanna make sure you're dropping a crazy amount of money if you're gonna get this new crossover of a device that pretty much does both. And I think it is gonna be sweet. I think that it's gonna work for a lot of people as long as you don't need M3 Max or M4 Max of performance, which you need active cooling. But even the M4 chip in the iPads is so crazy powerful compared to what we had with Apple Silicon just a year or two ago. So you guys let me know your thoughts about this down in the comment section below. Is this something that you would like to buy and use? Can you see it benefiting your life? I wanna hear your thoughts. Go ahead and click that circle above and check out one of those great videos right over there. This has been Max, and I'll see you in the next one.